Do you feel like, and this is something that I struggle with too, when trying to analyze fighters' performances and their future and what you can and can't do, do you feel like you go into MMA with a certain skill set? You started out as a wrestler, and you're not going to be like a karate expert.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to be a wonder boy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be a jiu-jitsu expert, which you are as a powerful wrestler with great striking. That's your skill set. You're strong and you got great cardio.
Mm-hmm.
If you tried to add a bunch of stuff to that and expand your skill level, do you feel like there's enough time in a career to really achieve the type of proficiency with, say, like kickboxing or something like that a real world-class kickboxer has? You almost are better off not doing that.
Yeah, I think I am the how-to manual for that, And but I
what
also,
did you try to do different?
I mean, just too many angles, too many different combinations, too many calls. I mean, a coach can outcoach too. A coach can outcoach and tell you 7 different combinations in 1 minute when really it should have just been focus on cutting them off. Focus on feints. Focus on touching a leg, which is going to set up the punches, and focus on the punches that are going to set up the takedown. You know, I mean, I also would say now, like my coach Henry Hooft. Awesome kickboxing coach, has amazing techniques, but it's very, very, very basic. We focus on being very, very proficient and very violent with the basics. You're not going to see us throwing a bunch of crazy combinations or a bunch of crazy stuff. So that works very well for me. I started out with Gil Martinez in Vegas, just wrestling, just boxing. And then I went to Alliance, and then now down in Florida with Henry. And
you live in Florida now?
No, I live in Nashville. But my last 3 camps I've done down in Florida, I'm opening up my own gym in Nashville, so I will be doing training at both places. But I mean, the killers that I get to spar with and train with down in Florida can't be matched, and those coaches are amazing down there. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of Henry Hooft.
Yeah, it's good.
I like him as a person, and I really like his coaching style. He's an animal.
He is. And the funny thing is, he coached against me in that second Eddie Alvarez fight. So like we talk about that, and that's why I will always. I want to fight Eddie again so bad. I want to have that. Well,
there's
trilogy.
only one way to do that, fella.
I want to fight Eddie so bad, but I have so much respect for him because not only did I spent 50 minutes inside the cage with the guy. We both have our face bloodied and battered and stitches. I mean, I got stitches in my lip. We both have stitches in our lip and our eyes and eyebrows from each other. But it's funny because when I sit there and I talk to people that I train in, I basically train in his training camp that he used to train in, and everybody always said there's only one guy I can compare your work ethic to, your dedication to, your love for your family, your love for the sport, this, that, and the other thing, and that's Eddie. So I mean, me and Eddie have spoken a couple times. I went up and trained with Frankie Edgar for 2 weeks a couple years ago, and he was out there training. So it's always just funny between me and him because we have fought and, but it's funny, but it's not like we have so much respect. We don't hate each other.
Do you guys hang out and go to dinner or anything like that?
No, we never done that. But I mean, we saw each other at practice and I asked him to spar and he's like, no, man, I don't want to get knocked out. And I made that up. But we were at the same thing and same practices and stuff. And it's kind of, but you also it's cool to get compared to a guy that you have fought because that immediately gives you a much more respect for somebody because I know how hard I train. I know I show up early and I'm always doing the little bit of extra and everybody knows what I'm fighting for. And I think him and I are very similar in that respect. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would imagine no one knows each other better than you guys do after something like that.
It's pretty nuts. Yeah, I mean, and man, yeah, they were both knockdown, drag-out wars.
They were crazy fights.
I would still say I won the second fight. But,
well, it's a very close fight, right?
Yeah, it was very close. I will say, but like I said, I mean, I ran into too many punches. It was kind of crazy too. I think I actually spoke to one of the refs who called the fight for Eddie, or not one of the refs, one of the judges, like a couple months after I was at some event, and he's like, oh yeah, well he rocked you in the second round, and I was like, he didn't rock me in the second round. I basically tripped and it looked like I got rocked.
Right.
So it's just funny, that kind of stuff too. This sport is left up to
people who don't necessarily know what they're doing.
Well, that too.
Yeah, that's a real problem with me. I go crazy.
Like I remember you talking about a couple fights ago.
Yeah,
you kept saying the one
DC.
name. Yeah, you're like, we're not going to say that name.
Lady alone.
Yeah,
she's a nice lady. Yeah. But look, man, it's just a disgrace that you have people that really don't know anything about martial arts and they're judging martial arts competitions. I mean, could you imagine if you had like an Ultimate Fighting Championship 8-man tournament with all the judges?
Yeah.
And have them fight each other?
Yeah, right.
You'd be like, what in the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
You guys don't even train?
Yeah.
You don't know anything about fighting at all?
Well, what do they take, a test?
I don't know.
Written test, you know? I mean,
a lot of them in certain commissions come from boxing. So they're boxing judges.
but even then, were they boxers? Or did they take
That's
a
a
written
good
test for
question.
boxing?
A lot of them, no. No. I mean, but I think, like, I don't know if Harold Letterman can box. He does a great job at judging, though. I mean, I agree with a lot of his assessments. But I think boxing is more straightforward. It's two hands.
Yeah.
You know, there's no elbows, knees, takedowns. You don't have to understand jiu-jitsu. You don't have to understand wrestling. You don't have to understand when a guy's in trouble versus a guy's not in trouble in a certain position. Like, how close was that submission?
Yeah.
You know, how many leg kicks has that guy eaten? Why did he switch his stance? Did he switch his stance because he does that all the time? Or is his left leg chewed up?
Yeah.
You know?
Right, exactly.
They don't know. They really don't know.
The stuff that you're saying that people who have seen the sport are thinking, but the judges may or may not have any idea what's going on with it.
A lot of them don't have an idea.
flows.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
It really is a disgrace.
Well, it's crazy to think that the sport's been around for 20 years now, 25 years now, and we're still having this conversation. You know,
boxing has questionable judgments. Like there's some questionable calls, but nothing like MMA.
Yeah.
I think MMA is
crazy ones.
It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
It really is.
What's the worst? Do you know the worst one in your opinion?
I wouldn't want to say a worst one because there's been so many fucking terrible ones. Sometimes it's like a split decision.
Yeah.
Where you'll hear one you agree with, one you agree with, and one you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And we'll like look at each other. Like I'll look at Anik and I'll look at DC and we'll be like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
How the fuck did someone think that person won that fight?
Yeah.
It's just bad, man. It's just really, really, really bad. And for a guy like you, who, you know, you have a win bonus and a show bonus in the UFC. So if you're in there and you do everything right and you get robbed, you didn't just get robbed of a decision and on your record it goes as a loss. And you could protest it till the cows come home. Nobody ever gets anything reversed.
Yeah.
When was the last time anybody got a decision reversed?
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
No. I mean,
So-
I don't really think it happens.
They've robbed you of your win bonus. I mean, it could cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a fucking terrible, terrible disgrace.
Yeah.